Hey, welcome back. It's been a while. I've spent less time than I would like working on the mod pack, but there's still plenty of stuff that has been changed, so let me walk you through it. First things first, one of the things I've done is I've started making some custom loot tables and drops for the boss monsters. So the mutant zombie from before, if I just beat him up, then when he dies, he's going to drop a brand new item that I added to the game. And that's this green one right here. So this is mutant flesh. There's another one that's added by... I later added this unusual delight mod, which also adds a mutant flesh that I could have used instead, but this is the one that I added. And this can be used to craft all sorts of items that would be the items that you would get after beating him. So you get a whole bunch random spin amount from this, and you can use that to make zombie armor, a rotten spell book, and even another gun. Essentially, I want every boss monster to drop an item like this that can be used to upgrade your equipment, so that there's a reason to grind them and fight them a few times before you move on. I have also discovered that you can in fact turn existing Minecraft items into curios, like this Eye of Ender, which means that with a little bit of fiddling, I can throw one on as a curio and even give it spells. So for instance, I could make it so that every single eye that you would collect throughout the game has some alternative reason to have it, which is, I'm really glad to have that. That's what I want to do. I want to even give them spells and things. I think it would be really cool if this vanilla Eye of Ender, for example, made like a portal that you could shoot arrows through and it doubles their damage. That's the sort of thing I want to do. Speaking of damage, not satisfied with the elemental combat mod that I originally added, I went ahead and actually programmed my own damage system with different kinds of class and elemental damage that can be factored in. So here, if I take this sword, which deals melee damage, and I go and bash this guy with it, does 232. I've even got my own custom damage indicator here, along with the one that's added by the dummies mod. And that's my melee damage, 221. But if I go back over here and grab this sword that also deals ice damage, you'll see when I hit him that it does 7.69 million ice damage. This is another thing I've done. I hate when the numbers get big like that. You can't tell what that number is. You can't tell what that is. 7.69 million. Nice and easy to understand. The little icon makes it so you can tell what it is. Easy. This even works for projectiles. I only do like 43 range damage. And it works for the spells from Iron Spells, although I think I need to tweak this a bit because I haven't tried them in a spellbook yet, and I don't think it would work. But you can see there, 1.54 thousand fire damage. And this one here is going to be blood damage. And this one does both melee and blood damage, which means I can do projectiles that do melee damage, yes. And just for fun, here's a sword that deals both fire and ice damage. So while I was working on the mod pack, I saw this video about a different mod called Migos. And I thought that it would be a perfect fit for this mod pack. It adds 3 NPC companions who can level up by fighting monsters, and you can give them items and then have them fight with you. What's going on with you? You weren't doing this last time. You can even give them ammo. And yeah, so what I think is really fitting about this is that they actually come in 3 flavors. You have the archer there, like the Coco Goat. You have a mage, and you have a warrior. And that's 3 of the classes that we have. And he's gonna go fight the mutant zombie and get killed, watch. Each one of them has a different item they like that you can tame them with, and then you can give them armor, and they'll aid you in combat. And they'll even level up and grow stronger from everything that they fight. So to me, this just sounds like a perfect fit, although it will need a lot of tweaking to actually make them work. But this means that you can have eventually like a party, even if you're playing single player, and I just like that sort of thing. At the moment, there's only these 3. It doesn't look like we're going to be getting more soon. I may try and add some myself. We will see. I'm sorry, wait, you gotta go. Another really cool mod I added is the Celestisynth mod, which adds a bunch of really cool weapons with interesting mechanics and just really cool designs. I mean, look at this. Look at that. So cool. And on top of that, they even have all sorts of actual different abilities. So for instance, Calamity Frostcast. Activate right-click while holding shift. Calls forth a maximum of 5 sizable ice formations in front of the caster. Boom! Look at that! Just cool. The weapons themselves aren't actually on the high power end at current, but I'm gonna make them on the high power end when I have my way with them. Because look at that, those are so cool. I would really love for all of the weapons to have this level of depth, but I don't think that that's actually doable. That said, this one here, the Keres, is in the naughty box, because I used it in my testing world. And if you use this and hold right clicks for more than 10 seconds, it does that. And it summons a giant rift with lava, and it nearly destroyed my testing world. So this is a bad boy and is going to not be available. Another thing I've done, I believe I talked about this before, but I added the aileron mod, which is a mod that overhauls how elytras work. So unlike vanilla Minecraft, taking off and then lighting a firework will not do anything. It will leave a little trail, but it won't actually make me speed up. So if you put the smokestack enchantment on, what you can do as a bit of an alternative is you can sneak over a campfire to store up multiple stores of a mid-air boost. And then when you let go of shift, you'll boost up into the air, and you get, with the highest level of the enchantment, 3 little boosts that you can use to keep yourself flying as you go exploring. I like this because it allows me to give the elytra to the player much earlier without letting it completely break everything. It's still a very powerful tool, but it doesn't allow for actually infinite flight. But I'm thinking that when you get deep enough into the game, I will in fact allow for infinite flight. These are the white feathered wings from Icarus. With these on the back slot, you can in fact fly. By holding down the sprint key, you consume some of your hunger, which doesn't actually exist in this version, in order to keep pushing yourself harder. So you'll notice that even though I'm not fast, I am continually going up. And they otherwise behave like elytra. And this will give you, like, longer form flight. I'm planning for them to be crafted with sanctified feathers, which are dropped from killing the Valkyrie Queen from the Aether. If I go that far, I'm still considering whether I want to include the Aether or not. My plan is for the Aether to be one of the later dimensions that you would go to in the game, so by the time that you get free-form flight, it's kind of just useful, instead of being actually game-breaking, and you still have to explore the old regions in a more balanced way. I'm still open to input on all this, by the way. Speaking of input, one of the things I have been thinking about is my reforging system, and I thought it would be interesting to use the mob drops from different monsters for the different classes. So for instance, instead of reforging with amethyst for everything, you could reforge with a netherite sword and rotten flesh, and then that would get you your regular reforges. But then later in the game, perhaps you want to reforge with a higher tier of monster drop, like, for instance, a Witherbone. And then that one would still give you melee reforges, but the reforges would be forced to be a higher quality, like maybe starting at uncommon. And so these are just some of the ones that I've got here. So like, the mages would use gunpowder and then magma cream, and the archers would use bones and then blaze rods. Open to thoughts on this. I would really like some feedback. This would be the case for armor as well, by the way. I've also been trying out a whole bunch of different food mods that add a bunch of different and interesting foods. With the food mod that I'm currently using, I can actually apply like attribute buffs to different kinds of food. So I could make it so that eating this smoked dragon leg increases your melee damage for a while. And then I could just make different kinds of food apply to different classes. Like, there's a bunch of defensive food, like maybe you eat the sweat pudding and that is all like defensive buffs, but then if you eat this stuffed squid, that's like melee attacking buffs. But then maybe this cavern explorer stew is like night vision and haste has already got there, but maybe like mining speed. I don't know, I'm completely throwing ideas at the wall here. I like the idea of this roasted dragon steak just giving you a whole bunch of melee damage buffs. And you just gotta kind of decide how you want to lay out your buffs. Do you want to go all in on like melee damage because you're a melee user? Do you want to go all in on mana regeneration because you're a wizard? I think that having more ideas and options like that will just make the game more fun. As a bit of an aside, does anybody know of a like quest book mod that's more interesting than FTB quests? Don't get me wrong, FTB quests gets the job done. But I feel like there should be a much more interesting way to lay out the different quests. If anyone knows of anything that they can recommend, I would really appreciate a recommendation. I've also been toying with the idea of custom weapon models myself. I got my friend to make this model of a bow from Terraria in the Minecraft style, and I actually really like how it turned out, and I'll probably try and put it into the game. If you know any modelers who would like to help with this sort of thing, please let me know. I'm on Discord. I would love to know that sort of thing. With the way that I'm changing the damage, I'm going to have to completely overhaul this skill tree. It's been working alright for testing, but I've basically completely changed how I want to design it, and I want to make a new skill tree that's more reminiscent of Path of Exile, although not exactly the same. But I think that the way I've done this, I'd still have the starts be pretty similar, but I want to have a bit more of an actual, like, segmented choice thing, like, oh, I want to lean more into defense, I want to lean more into damage, I want to have more substats and cool, like, little perks that I can proc into and head towards, stuff like that. Another thing I'm always messing with in the background is just sort of terrain generation. So we're here in the Void, and I've been messing with the generation of it a bit by including the Better End mod as well as Nullscape and trying to get them to play together. And I feel like it has some really cool effects, some of which I like and some of which I don't. There's a lot of stuff going here. I want to make this a dimension actually fully worth exploring. I hate the thing where mod packs just end when you go and defeat the Ender Dragon. That's not cool. And in fact, to try and dissuade against that, I am intending to completely rename everything from the End to instead be called the Void. So it's not the Void, it's not the Ender Dragon, it's going to be the Void Dragon. It's not Endstone, it's Voidstone. I think I really see the path where I can have the Void come before the Nether in progression. You'll have to trust me on that until I can prove it. That's not all I've been messing with. I'm here in another world and I want to show you something awesome. I have been messing with the Immersive Portals mod, which allows you to stack different dimensions on top of each other so that I can fall out of the Aether here and into the Twilight Forest. Quick reminder that all of the mods are placeholder. I don't know if I'm going to use Twilight Forest or not. I've just got a huge amount of dimensions here for the sake of showing off this concept. As we descend out of the Twilight Forest, we hit this Cinderstone, which is replacing the bedrock and is a block that you can only break after reaching a certain progression point in the story. Below the Twilight Forest here is the Nether. Once again, the Nether is blocked off by a block that you can't necessarily break. I would need to have reached a certain game stage in order to break it. But then once I've reached that, I can dig through it with the appropriate tools and make it to the Nether. Then we can fall down into the Overworld. And then down below the Overworld into the Afterdark. Then down even further. And now we're surrounded by Skulkstone in Deeper and Darker, with an entire dimension of Skulk-themed things. And so yeah, you get the gist. Unfortunately, much as I like this concept, and I found a way to even kind of logistically make it work with the barriers, I haven't found a way to force immersive portals to generate these ways in specific worlds. I can set it up on the screen myself, but I can't see any way to set up immersive portals to just do this specific configuration every time you generate a new world. And if I can't do that, then I have to rely on some other method of doing this. I may end up relying on some non-immersive portals method of doing the same thing. And that's about everything I've got to show you this time. There's plenty of other things I've been working on, like a custom dungeon, trying out a whole bunch of different mobs, making new mobs myself. But there's nothing to really show for it just yet, and a lot of the stuff is probably going to get cut anyway. And unfortunately, my ability to work on this pack is much lesser than it was when I started on it. We're currently in the winter season, and I don't live on the power grid. I live off of solar panels, which means that the amount of power that I can actually spare to spend time on my computer has gone down drastically, and I'm much less able to spend time working on this mod pack as a result. It's a little sad, but it's just how it is. It will pick back up when I get back to the summer, or if I just get lucky and have a bunch of sunny days, and I am trying to upgrade the power system manually myself. So yeah, thank you for watching, everyone, and I will see you all next time, hopefully with a lot more to show off. Until then.